Hey everybody, welcome back to Rough Night Gaming. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Travis.
And we're playing Dark Souls 3. Oh yeah. We spent last episode kicking ass and taking names. No big deal. Broken sword. Why did they even give you a broken sword?
Because the broken straight sword is from like the first game, and it's kind of this iconic weapon.
Little homage there.
Yeah, it's been around forever, so everybody just... Actually, it's probably even from Demon Souls.
Oh, shields. The bane of my existence.
I tried to get Demon Souls working on my computer, but couldn't get it.
It's too powerful for your computer. No.
Yeah.
Alright.
I can only run it in like low settings because it's just so
It's
ridiculous.
so powerful.
Yeah. So, I kind of wanted to talk about the beginning of the last episode where they,
where we made Babycake?
yeah, where we birthed Babycake.
God, that was traumatic. Are you okay? Like, I'm never gonna shit right again.
It's a little intense.
Hold on, let's take a look over here. This looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, let's take it. So we know that this place is called Lothric because of the beginning. It says it is called Lothric, right? And it's this place where these
fucking crazy
lands converge, right? So this is more than one land altogether, kind of in one central area. It's like a hub place. This castle up here.
Places.
Yeah. And then they talk about that these pilgrims, right? Those guys with the shells on their back, kind of, or at the very least backpacks of some sort. They're called pilgrims, right? So what are pilgrims, Marius?
They are what John Wayne calls common folk.
That's true. And so these people who are just common folk, according to John Wayne,
Who is the
god of this world,
authority of all things words.
Yeah, all things words.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these pilgrims who are people who
No. You're doing it wrong. These pilgrims.
They're going on a holy journey. Because that's what a pilgrim does, don't he? It's usually somebody who goes on a holy journey of some sort, like some sort of like.
Hey there, holy journey.
Right, he's on a quest. So they go up, right? They go to the north, and according to her, they discover the truth of these old words. And these old words are: the fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. Right.
Okay.
So what they find out is that when the link of the fire is threatened, as in the fire is about to go out. The fire that you set fire to in the first one, that Gwyn basically kept going until he went hollow. When that's about to go out again, because eventually time brings it up.
Fire triangle. You need fuel, oxygen, and a spark.
That's right. So the bell will start tolling, and you remember from the first game, that would be what? The bell of
awakening.
That's right, the bell of awakening, which is
oh god, this test shouldn't have multi-part questions.
Yeah, I know. So the bell of awakening is this old bell that used to in the original game open up Sen's Fortress, which allows you to go to Anor Londo.
The best part of the game.
It's pretty great. But in this one, what it does is it does awaken things, but it
So this is the bell. It awakens the lords.
It awakens the Lords of Cinders.
Okay.
Right, from their graves. So they've already died. And that'd be Aldrich, Farron's Undead Legion, Yorm the Giant. Those are the three that are mentioned. Although we do know that there's more.
God, how do you get lordhood? Lord Babycake was awakened because the flame was threatened. That would be intimidating and strike fear into the hearts of...
Actually, that's kind of where I'm going with this.
Oh, shit. I knew that, of course.
Yeah. Did you get the item on the tree? What is wrong with your face? I mean, besides the usual.
What? Did I get the item on the tree?
Turn around.
What? Turn around.
There,
right there. I was going to double back here. Come on.
I mean, I
guess
see
that for sure.
Well, no, because if you kept going, you would have gotten your ass killed by the master. East West Shield. Let's take a look at that thing.
The master.
Boom.
Oh, I can't equip it. Must
That's
be
fine.
worthless. Should get rid
It
of
says, a wooden shield decorated with an ancient symbol of the two-headed eagle, close to a small shield in size. Cool. It offers relatively high magic absorption. It also has the parry ability.
Do you think they put any significance into the animals that they choose, like an eagle?
I think yes, to a point. I think they might try your other.
The one that takes fucking forever to cast.
If you got enough range.
He's on my dick, Travis. I don't.
You keep pushing the lock on when you're facing the wrong way. You got to be facing your opponent. That's not bad. Okay, so anyway, once these guys are awoken, apparently they're supposed to set fire to the flame. They're supposed to keep it going. That's why they're the
Isn't
lords.
that a Lord song? Like, set fire to the flame?
Maybe.
You're like, duh, it's a Lord song. We're talking about Lords of Cinder, Marcus. Idiot.
What they are is they're
This guy's a pussy.
well, he's actually quite tough. If you
Nah,
get
sorcery build is best build.
Oh,
Is he gonna...
oh,
He's suicidal!
so close.
Boom!
You got him.
Hell yeah, I did.
That weapon that he's got.
The
That's pretty Uchigatana.
Uchigatana.
You get that in the first game. It's pretty great. I don't think you got it, but you can
Oh,
get it.
wow! No faith that Marcus has done anything cool ever.
I was there watching you.
Shut up. Don't worry about it.
So, all right. So there's this place. There's an item inside. It doesn't open though.
Doesn't open from the side. What's that mean? Come on, it's a door. It opens from both sides.
So,
maybe locked. But anyway,
what they say is that these Lords of Cinder, right? And what is Cinder?
Cinder is the material that has already been burned.
Right. Yeah, but it's still got some like. Usually, when
Some
you say
heat, some
cinder, it's
residual-
still
yeah.
it's still got heat to it, right?
It's your campfire the next morning if you didn't put it out.
All right. Let's slow down because I'm trying to finish the thought.
All
here.
right.
They saw that what they say is that the lords will abandon their thrones, and you can actually see from here. You can see their thrones, some of them, that they've been abandoned, as in they're not doing their duty, which is to keep the flame alive. They've decided not to return, so the unkindled will rise. And you're considered unfit to even be cinder. And
Because
you're
the flame is holy.
right, you're considered an ashen one, and so ash seeketh embers. So that's something that comes throughout this whole game, is that you're always seeking the embers, because these lords are the embers from which you will keep the fire aflame. So basically, your job is to hunt down these fucking lords and make them
Do their
keep
job.
the flame alive.
Make them do their job.
Yeah, that's why you're basically resurrected. But who or what resurrected you, it may just be the curse of undead. So welcome to Firelink Shrine. You remember from the first game, Firelink Shrine?
Completely different.
It was completely different. It's all shelled out and everything. But however, there are a lot of similarities. It is a hub place. If you look down, you've got this kind of like circular pit area.
Yep.
And you remember in the first game, there's that little circular area right next to the tree. Let's flash back to that. There you see. So it's kind of got this little dip area.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly like the same thing.
But this is...
And there's a crestfallen person right off to the side whose head hangs low and is upset. Just like in Dark Souls 1 and in Dark Souls 2.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we are talking true legends, with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots.
So you're kind of seen as you're not even.
He's unkindled too. He was brought back.
Yeah, like you're seen as not worthy of even lighting the flame yourself. Like you don't have the power to keep the flame alight at this stage. Is what you're considered. Your job is to make them do their job and light the damn flame.
Which is funny because the first one was all about that, like the path to lighting the flame, and everybody is encouraging you to do it. Like, not in the beginning, everybody says like you're on a fool's errand.
Right.
But towards the end, they're like, maybe you can do it.
Right.
And then you're encouraged to, and eventually do or don't. Like, that's, part of it. But it is all about the hero's journey in the first one.
Asking us to seek the Lords of Cinder and return.
Oh, you already said this stuff, man. Crestfallen Knight's awesome. Who doesn't love like cynical characters? Like those guys add a lot, I think.
Yeah, they add a lot to the mood. In fact, more than any of the other two games, this game has the most mood building, and I love it.
So this is, I can only assume, is the lady from the cinematic who, and that band that she's wearing across her eyes has like the deep coalescing kind of on the inner portion of it.
We can kind of only assume that. Like, we don't actually know. Like,
It
that
just looks very similar.
Yeah, it could be the same one. It could be a different one. It could be, you know, the same woman. We don't actually know. But yeah, we can only assume that it's meant to be, if not the same person, the same idea.
And I feel like the Firekeeper's story in this is more integral and more heartfelt than it wasn't. Like 2 didn't really have that. In 1, it was like a deep, like she was the one at the Firelink Shrine.
Right.
Like that was huge.
She never talked to you, but then when she died and her soul was like stolen, you felt bad about it and you were upset.
Yeah, of course you were. And like, because
she was integral to your own survival.
And you felt, well, there's that, and then you just felt like she was very much held there against her will, like somehow physically undermined to where she couldn't go.
Yeah,
or maybe she couldn't communicate. Or, you know, she does talk to you eventually, right?
Right, but they hint that maybe her tongue was ripped out and her legs were broken to keep her there.
Absolutely.
Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
All right, so this is the leveling up system in this one. It's the same as everyone, but the every game, everything changes, right? So let's go start off with Vigor. If you notice that it levels up your hit points as oh, whoa, it's a full-blown explanation. There you go. Value indicator. That's the level.
Vigor.
There you go. It also governs resistance to frost, but you'll notice that all your defenses actually do go up with them, and resistances.
It does that with every stat.
Yes,
I
pretty
think that's
much.
probably just based on level or something.
Well, if you'll notice that none of these are so like.
Oh, never mind. Nothing actually changes.
Yeah, they're just telling you what they are. If
because
you actually,
because I have Vigor selected. These are okay.
Yes.
I get it.
So
Okay.
if you go back, attunement, that's your focus points and attunement slots. It is actually very expensive. They're very stingy with attunement slots, and they always have been in all the games.
But this doesn't impact my casting speed.
No. Then you got endurance, which is stamina, and that's your how many
stamina.
attacks you can use, and then lightning and bleed. Now these resistances, no one ever pays any attention to them for actually like anything. Maybe your gear, but you would never choose a stat based on how resistant it is to bleed, you know?
Right, because your gear you can change out every boss fight. Your stats you can't change out every boss fight.
Exactly. And this one is physical defense, although it'll also increase, I believe, your equip load. Yeah.
So she's talking right now.
Yes. We'll talk about that later. We'll kind of try and like parse what she's saying at a different time. But for now,
because she just like absentmindedly talks in the background. And I'm like, am I supposed to be like paying attention to this? Like,
right.
I'm sure it does have importance, but you figure if it was integral, they would like have to stop and text and stuff like that. It's definitely interesting. I like it.
Yeah. And then of course strength, which is just straight strength, and then dex, which has always been the same.
Reduces. There we go.
Spellcasting time. Right. If you actually look at dex, you'll also reduce damage taken when falling.
Oh, interesting.
I'll go back to strength for a second. This one will improve your fire as well. In intelligence, increases your spell potency, but you'll notice that pyromancy is affected by both faith and intelligence, and in fact, you kind of have to keep them on equal footing
in order to keep them pumped.
To get the best benefit. The wider the disparity, the worse it is. But what's funny is that the disparity between faith and int. Remember in the first game when they talked about flame causing disparity?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to keep them the same. That's interesting. And then, dark defense is calculated by faith, and of course spells. And that's just item discovery. You pretty much will never need that. It's kind of a dumb stat.
Okay.
So what do you want to level first, right?
Shit. I've got 4 levels to play with.
You got more. You got more than that. You got 6 levels to play with.
1. Oh, you're right. I do. Holy shit.
Is it
I wasn't gonna do attunement. I was just looking at that. I really like Dex, just as a stat, as any kind of character. I really like Dex.
Sure.
We can get this to 10 at least.
Vigor's very good early game. I know that.
You think that's too much in Dex for now?
What about your int? I mean, you seem to be mostly using your actual spells.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I hope so.
You will run out of focus points, though, and you will eventually have to start relying on your sword, like as you go from bonfire to bonfire.
Could attunement ups focus points?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, right now, the spells that I have seem to take away so little that I'm okay with where I'm at.
Cool.
But,
Sounds good, then.
all right, we'll do this. Cool.
Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how. Ashen One, bring me souls plucked from their vessels. Ashen
So there's
One,
something interesting about these
Ashen
items. All items in all the Dark Souls games are either dropped from a chest or a dead body, or where a body like was, like
Right, they're planted on a body somewhere.
yeah, exactly.
Which I remember-
or a grave, which is where a body would be.
Which I remember in Dark Souls 1, we would have a discussion because the rats in the sewers would drop humanity. And, like, that was an interesting dynamic because not all enemies drop items randomly. There was obviously some sort of connection with the rodents and...
Yes, there's usually there's no random drops. Now look at this lady. Do you remember this is a throwback to Dark Souls 2 kind of.
It almost looks like a throwback to Bloodborne.
A little bit, yeah. But in Dark Souls 2, there were these red-robed women who were considered to be firekeepers. And if you look, her eyes are bound.
Oh, these are the ladies who just talk shit in the beginning of the game. But the thing is you saw them in the beginning of the game, and then you never saw them ever again, right?
The idea was you could go back to them, and they would actually alter your stats if you wanted to. But
okay.
there was never any real reason to
But
go
yeah,
back.
they didn't factor into the story at all beyond that. No, which is weird because they were very heavily focused on it in the beginning.
Yeah, she calls herself a handmaid at the shrine.
Weapons, armor, trinkets, and spells. I've lots of little things to ease the burden of a weary traveler.
If she's one of the gals from 2, she's very humbled from them.
I don't mean literally she's...
No,
Yeah.
Ashen One, fetch.
Now she calls you Ashen One. Other people call you like the Unkindled and things like that.
As is thy want.
Which is insulting?
Unkindled?
No, is Ashen One?
I don't think so.
Ashen One, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction,
Her voice
bring
becomes
me
very
umbral
stern.
ash.
Yeah. Umbral Ash.
With ash, I'll
Umbral
fashion
ash
new
meaning
wares.
if we parse that word out.
Is it not us?
Oh, you're
I
asking
think,
what does umbral
to
mean?
suffer
Yeah.
undead?
Umbral means it is considered to be like the darkest part of a shadow. So when shadows are made, right, you know how there's some like lighter shadow, and then
Yeah.
when they
There's the penumbra, which is like the haze around. Yeah.
exactly.
Interesting. I mean, that's funny because, like, in Pokemon, you can get Espeon and Umbreon, which is Shadow type.
Oh
EV
yeah,
evolution.
that makes sense.
All right, let's see what she's got.
So she's got a
She's
whole
got
ton of like
Embers.
general use items.
Got a fucking slingshot.
She's got a dried finger, which was in the first game.
tower key.
That key we will want to purchase at some point. We'll probably use like a boss. Like after we kill a boss, we'll
I'm
use
almost
their
there.
souls.
No, I've almost got enough. It's
Let's
fine.
look at this white soapstone, which was in the first game. The summon, the one that's I think Solaire gave it to you.
You would know better than I.
Yeah, be summoned to another world as a phantom through your sign to defeat the area boss to gain the strength of flame. The nature of Lothric is murky, unclear. The white soapstone allows unkindled to assist one another.
Co-op.
Yeah, pretty
for
much.
suckers.
Let's take a look at this item over here. Yeah, this heal aid. Now let's look at the actual picture. There are these people who are like worshiping or bowing or at least listening to this central figure.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that central figure?
Lord Gwyn.
That's right. How can you tell?
The hat.
That's right. His crown is Lord Gwyn's crown. So this is Lord Gwyn speaking to his people. So you know, like a miracle shows him, and you know, because it's all based on Gwyn and really the way of white and worshiping of the gods. This miracle is imparted as charity to those of little faith, a show of tolerance from the way of white. It's kind of like, so you'll notice that it requires very little faith. If you go to the other screen, it only requires a minimum of 8. So it's kind of like that, like a proof of like you have little faith, but we'll show you that we will heal and that we have good intentions.
Got it.
Let's read the talisman. So it is once a very common item among the ranks of the old Way of White. But when they say once, maybe it no longer is. The Way of White doesn't seem to be around. That's
But I
your
mean,
shield,
the
isn't it?
relics of the Way
Yeah.
of White are around.
Exactly.
And the stories and everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the shield I have. We good here? Or
I think we're good here, yeah. Unless you wanted anything specific.
oh, this just parses it out into.
Ashen
I don't
One.
have enough.
Be short.
Yeah. You love souls. I
Now,
get it.
this is Andre
Soul
from the first
family.
game.
Absolutely, it is.
Now there are discussions later on that we'll come across, but this is the same Andre. This is not
Look at
Andre.
his skin, though.
Yeah, he's old.
I mean, that's not old. I mean, hold on.
No, he looks like he's been burned in some manner. Oh, you want to take a look at yourself?
Because
Now,
in 1, I had the dark side upon me, and it fucked up my skin.
that's right. But right now you're what do they call it? You're kindled.
Uh-huh.
Let's take a look more at your skin and body when you're like more hollowed.
Okay, got it. Because, yeah, that's what I was likening those marks to.
You'll notice that Andre even has the same animation as he did in the first one. Just these like
hammering,
janky
the constant, yeah.
hammering. Yeah. And he's got the same voice actor.
Swift motions.
Well, a newcomer, I see. I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust. A toilsome journey, I'd wager. You'll require good arms. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith, such is my purpose.
Okay.
Weapons and protection
Blah, blah, blah.
when overused.
Yep.
And when their
You get it.
durability
So the
is about to
repair in this game
while
might as
I'm
well not
unlocking this
exist.
state,
I know, which is
no
fantastic.
pleasure in
Which is
breaking,
lame.
I assure you.
We had a bit of a problem with that in 2.
2, it was over the top. It was too much in 2. In 1, I think it was perfect.
Yeah. A lot uses. I like this.
I do like this
Obviously,
too.
it's not a big deal now, but eventually, especially for me as a wizard, I'm going to want more of the ashen flasks instead of the healing flasks. Maybe. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's going to be fun.
You'll pretty much never ever need to repair in this game. I've never repaired.
You've never repaired? Travis, you're
No.
missing out on so much of this game. You're not repairing. My God.
I know. So,
And so the rest of this is pretty much empty, right? There might
Yeah.
be...
for now it is.
Okay, so I should just go on. I shouldn't...
Well, let's go investigate the thrones
I don't remember this being
themselves.
so, like, green and pretty. Like, the water is actually...
I don't remember.
water!
Oh yeah! Actually, that might be something wrong with the settings or something. It shouldn't look this green. That's a
Yeah.
little odd.
It's usually just really dark.
Yeah. No, my I feel like my game isn't that green. That's really weird. Okay, so these are the 5 things,
right.
and when we did the opening, there was only 3, right?
3 what?
The opening of the intro, they
There's the
only
giant,
introduced us the 3. There's the giant, there's Aldrich, the
yep.
Saint, and then there's the
Yorm.
the Farron Legion.
The Watchers.
Yeah. So those are the Watchers of the
yeah,
Abyss.
okay,
yeah.
those-
So now there's this other one up top here. Like, whose throne is this? Holy King Lothric himself. Last hope of his line. That's interesting.
Yeah. Why didn't they mention him? He must be a minor player. Not
Who's
really
this?
worthy of...
Bloodlith the Exiled.
No wonder they didn't mention him. He's so tiny and weak.
Interesting.
Oh, this one's covered up.
This is St. Aldrich of the Deep. Let's go talk to Bloodlith. He's got some things to say.
Hey.
He's wearing a crown. He's a king, is he not? He is a lord, even, if you will.
Does he have feet?
They might have been
Cut off.
damaged in
O
some
lad
way.
unkindled, and a seeker of lords. I am Ludleth of Corland. Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago.
So linking the fire makes you a Lord of Cinder.
Babycake!
I want.
That's right.
Set thine eyes upon my child course. This sad cadaver. No need to be coy. Have a closer look. Knowest thou of our purpose? 5
Sorry,
thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast-fading flame must be licked to preserve this world. A reenactment
It's a
of the
reenactment.
first linking of the fire. So it is, I became a Lord of Cinder. I may be but small, but I will die a Colossus.
So he's waiting. He's one who wants it to, he's ready. He's like, get these other 4 fuckers here and let's do this type thing.
Maybe, yeah. It's interesting, too, is that he is following in the footsteps of Lord Gwyn. In fact, everybody is.
So,
Lord Gwyn did a thing, and we're all just dealing with it still.
during his dialogue, I had a question that I waited until there was a good time, but is it taking more and more to rekindle every time?
It seems that way, isn't it?
Because before, like you said, it was just Gwen, and then it was next in line. Like in one, Babycake came and he rekindled the flame.
Right.
Now
And
it takes 5 lords.
yeah, he said he did it, right?
Yeah.
And then other people either have done it or not done it, but
It's just been one soul.
Right. It's because they're Lords of Cinder now. They're just Cinder, and they don't have.
They're not. The flame isn't as strong or relevant, as easy to find. Or
Right. And every time the world becomes more and more falling apart. You know, notice that there's this built up ash all over the floor.
Yeah.
The world becomes more and more. From the first game to the second game to the third game, things have become worse and worse and worse. And it's like nobody's
will take
fixing it.
lords.
And there's like no central authority.
Should we do this?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually have to use the item, huh?
You shouldn't have to.
I just have to position myself correctly.
That's it.
There it
There
is.
you go. I'd forgotten you hadn't done this.
Does that change dialogue, you think, or?
You
Probably
can do it.
not.
Let's do a quick runaround. Ask some people. At least with her.
Ashen one,
And the,
produce
kindled.
the mark of ash will guide thee to the land of the lords. To Lothric, where the homes of the lords converge.
So she tells you to go straight to Lothric right
Ashen
away.
one, to be on
Yeah, yeah.
Ashen one.
Alright, well,
farewell,
should we go?
ashen
Yeah, let's talk to him.
flames guide thee.
Oh
the,
yeah, now that he saw me do it.
Maybe.
I have been judged and I have been deemed
What a
worthy.
sick joke.
No, he says the same.
Asking us.
All right, I think you're all clear. Nothing else to be done here.
All right.
I mean, there is other like fancy stuff to do, but you don't really have to worry about that. You're not fancy. So she told you to go straight. She told you go to the high wall of Lothric, and you're basically underneath Lothric now, aren't you? I do.
Yeah, you're right.
I do lament that Firelink Shrine is not in an actual central location like in Dark Souls 1 that
Where you can
could go
run
to.
to it, you actually have to it's completely separate.
It's completely. It's a lot like that one Bloodborne area, the Hunter's Dream, where it's like a completely separate area.
I mean, that almost made more sense in Bloodborne with the ambiance and
Story-wise, it made sense.
Yeah.
Yes. In this one, it's a slight bummer because one was just so beautifully crafted, but this is still much better than I would say 2. Let's take a look at that. Yeah.
there's another coiled sword.
Exactly, there is another coil sword, and then you got that little bowl thing that was in the ash at the bottom of Firelink.
Yeah. Why did they put another coiled sword here? Like, what's its purpose?
Its purpose is to show you that you're not the first person to walk this journey.
But I mean, you're supposed to put that in the bonfire, right?
It's at every bonfire. You're not the first person to attempt to link the flame.
Okay.
There are many before you, and there may be more afterwards, should you fail.
No death run, baby.
Look at this fucking city. Now, before this show is over, and I'm sure people who have watched the show know, I mean, we will go to that bridge at the bottom. We'll go to that bridge at the top. We'll go to the top of that spire on the left.
Is there a bell?
No. We'll go all the way to that right inside that building. I mean, we'll be all over this city.
That's fantastic level design.
Yes, and I do think that the Lothric area is wonderful. Like, you can run from this point all the way to the top of that point without running into any load screens.
Oh, well, I mean, it's just jaw-dropping that, this is what they present you with in the first 20 minutes of the game. Here are, this is way farther in the game, and you're going to be able to go to all of this.
Yeah.
Everything that the sun touches is something you will be able to play. And even, like, immediately, like, I'll be able to run down there, run over there. Like, I can scout ahead and see maybe where I want to go, or if there's, like, I'm sure
and this blue area immediately brings attention to itself, that circle.
Fantastic level design.
Good. All right, well, let's
start to explore some of it.
Let's head on down to the bonfire and rest, because that was a rough trip.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting though that you didn't get teleported to
a bonfire.
You got teleported to an empty room where there was a coiled sword.
You're right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end this episode.
Looking out onto Lothric.
Yeah, we'll talk about all the things that we're looking at right now next time.
Yeah, that sounds good. But for now, this has been Rough Night Gaming. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Travis.
And until next time, don't go hollow.